Alright, the first unit we're looking at today is the EZA Fizz Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. His stacking paired with his insane attack stats are what are able to make him attack so high on his counter. You can see from anywhere between 30 mil on the counter up to 500 million on his counter due to just his stacking abilities. And again, the reason why he's on this list is just for how powerful those counters can end up being for him. Again, it's really fun to see this animation. He brings a confetti cannon out and then he just kicks them and just absolutely obliterates the boss with how much damage he can be doing there. Again, they gave a stacking character a counter, and that's just the biggest mistake you could ever do, because the amount of damage you're going to see this Gogeta do is quite insane. And of course, you compare this with the AGL Super Gogeta active skill to make him even stronger. So it's just quite insane how strong his counter is. It looks really good. And again, the reason why he's on this list. Let's talk about the other Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and that is the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And before we continue this, I really want to hear what you guys think about the ranking of this Gogeta. I think he's pretty good, but I think he's number one. I don't want to say pretty good. I think he's one. A lot of people don't. They think they're a little worried about how well he can tank against normals, which is weird because you're usually worried about a guy taking damage from supers, but he actually takes damage from normals, not supers, due to how his kit is worded on the multiplicative damage. I still think he's one. Again, people don't like it that you have to use LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku next to him, but LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is also on his team on GT Heroes. To me, it's just... I don't know. To me, it seems like something that you should consider, because it's not like you're forced to run Goku. You're running him anyways, kind of thing, right? So, anyways, this Gogeta's counter animation is really good. It doesn't hit as hard as the Fizz Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, literally because of the fact that he doesn't stack, and the Fizz 1 does. But on his active turn, you could see a pretty solid 50 to 60 million counter on the number-wise. It does more than that once it hits the enemy. But those, you'll see something around there on the little number wheel before he launches it, and it does pretty good damage. I mean, this is probably his weakest animation of his entire kit, but it still looks pretty good. All right, the next animation and the next unit is PHY Tao. Of course, he just has all of those rainbow orbs and he gets those attack stat up all the way up, you could see pretty impressive damage from his unarmed super attack counter. Again, you're not going to see it too often because right now we don't have a ton of unarmed super attacks, but once you do, and you do get it, it can do some pretty good damage. I loved using PHY Tao against the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku fight because he was just constantly countering the entire time, and it was just nice dwindling his health down because of all the counters that he was doing. So it was pretty fun to use the Tao for sure. I think Tao is one of the best Dokkan Fest releases in a long time. A lot of people don't like the character choice, and I understand that. I don't really either, but if they're going to make, characters that are less hype than normal more fun, then I'll take less hype, because you can get hype characters like Blue Kaioken and they just suck, right? Or you can get Tao, who may not be hype, but he's fun. So, each their own. I think Blue Kaioken should be fun and hype, but they don't believe in that. So, anyways, I do like Tao's counter. It's not hard to activate. It is pretty easy to see, especially because he's a slot 1 unit, and it does pretty good damage. All right, next is the god of all counters, and that is TEQ Super Vegito. Now, granted, right, his counters at times are not going to do the most damage on the initial one counter, unless, of course, you stack. Again, they gave a stacking unit a counter, and it does crazy damage once it's fully built up, and you're constantly doing that every time you get hit, because you're also building your attack every time you get hit, constantly making that counter do more and more and more and more. It's pretty funny. Again, I look at all these tier lists right now, about like, where's Gogeta, where's Omega, where's Rose, where's the Blues, where's everybody land on the tier list right now, and I just see a lot of people just dishing Vegeta to the side, like he's gone, he's nothing anymore, because we have these locking bosses, and these locking bosses are just problems or whatever. And I get that, I get locking being an issue, but you're acting like Vegeta's gonna get locked in slot 1 every single time he's in there. Like, that's not the reason why he would not be in the top 3, in my opinion. Super Vegito is way too valuable still, and for the reason he's on this list, his counters are way too strong. He's super tanky in slot 2 or 3. There's not a single boss right now who's killing him in slot 2, unless it's Rose built up. But Rose, even turn 1, is not killing him, unless your Vegeto's like 55%, probably. Because my 90% Vegito is taking that easily. So, again, I'm just telling from my own experience with using the Vegito, I like him at 2 right now. That's where I have him. Again, I like Omega, I like Rose, I like the Blues, I think Vegeto's at 2. He just does so much more. He does so much more than the others that I really do enjoy this unit. But I will give them credit. This Global Dokkan campaign has a handful of units that are just very good. All 4 units, man. But The Global Dokkan campaign is not flawless because their EZAs, I think, have under-delivered just a tad. The EZA LR Infusion Zamasu, I do not like them at all. At all. I do not like them at all. I think they could have been so much stronger unit. It should have been more tanky, but it's just what's up. It's just what happens, you know. But again, I don't want him to be a slot 1 unit, but when you can't even tank in slot 2, what's the point? Right? If you're taking 300 to 600 to 900k in slot 2, literally what's the point of running you? There is no point to run you. You're useless to me. So, anyways, the point is the fusion. His counter though does do good damage, especially on his active skill turn. You could see upward to 300 mil on the wheel. Like his damage is very impressive, especially on the counter. He can do some crazy numbers on the counter damage, but. Again, he should have been a little more defensive, but he is definitely heavy in the offensive category. The LR STR Tien is going to be our next unit for this, and his counter animation is very, very good. The power of his counters do some insane damage due to how high his attack stats can be. Of course, it depends if you're in slot 1 and slot 2, and if you've attacked already or not, right? There's a lot of factors into the varying degrees of how strong his counter animation can be. But if you're on the higher end of his damage production, of course, his counter is going to follow suit, and his counter can do some pretty nasty damage. You see it pretty often due to the fact that, especially in Global Dokkan Stage 1 and 2 and 4, all of them have Kamehameha category enemies that shoot key blast attacks, and Tien has a 100% chance to counter that. So you're always good. If Tien gets hit by a super in any of those fights, he will guarantee counter it unless you kill. Nope, all of them will have it. Yep, all of them will have it. So he has a 100% counter against all of them, doing tons of damage. Tien's a very valuable unit. The Key Blast supers in this game are very common. The reason why Gogeta is very good, the reason why Tien's good, Gotenks and all of them, because they all benefit off of fighting enemies with Key Blast supers. And again, the reason why Tien's on this list is how powerful that counter is as well. All right, the next 2 units are the LR AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the LR STR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. I kind of grouped them together since they're basically doing the same amount of damage due to the temp boost. So I decided to include them. They have the equal chance to counter and all that stuff. They do tons of damage on that counter. That's also because they're doing 47 mil to 54 million damage on that 18 key super attack. So they put up quite the impressive performance for sure. I really do enjoy how strong these 2 are once they perform that. But again, I do have issues with their tanking for sure. Their defensive abilities, even with plus 1700%, is still not necessarily enough to tank some of these crazier bosses we have right now. But the fact that they're even usable on a meta where we have 7 to 10 mil supers coming out is quite impressive for sure. Again, their counters can do some pretty crazy damage post super, around 10 to 15 mil, I believe was the numbers that I was seeing when I was running them. So again, definitely deserve the nod on this list for how strong they've become due to the temp boost. But of course, it won't last for long. Finally, we have PHY Omega Shenron, who counters unarmed super attacks. Some quite impressive damage you could see from him due to his high attack stats right away. The Extreme Class team got exactly what they needed, and it's PHY Omega Shenron, the guy who is here to save the entire team. I don't like how squishy he is. I know a lot of people really enjoy this unit. I get it, but we're in a short meta, and he needs to tank turn 1. And he needs to get the defensive stacks up before he's even able to tank. It just doesn't work well, in my opinion. I think Rose is better. I think the Blues are better. I think Gogeta is better. Again, I do think Omega is still really good. Don't get me wrong. Omega is an impressive unit. It is quite insane how good these 4 units have been for this Global Dokkan campaign. All 4 of them are good. It's insane to say that. But at the same time, again, a lot of people love Omega, and he's fun. He's a support, but he just needs more. He just needs more, because if you don't have both PHY Omegas on the first turn, he will die because he doesn't have his full thing up. He needs the perfect situation to be good. Both Omegas run, defensive stacks up, have support, all that stuff going for him to be amazing. But again, these fights we have right now may not be what we see in the long term, right? For example, right now we're facing bosses doing locking and AoEs, and they're doing this all turn 1, and on top of that, they're doing 10 mil supers and stuff like that, right? Like that's the reason why a lot of people don't have TEQ Vegito in their top 5 right now for some reason. I just don't agree with that at all, and I definitely think TEQ Vegito is better than some of these Global Dokkan campaign units we've gotten. But again, that's just what I think. But Omega Shenron's counter animation is pretty good. It does a lot of damage. He's a very solid unit, and he could age very well. I mean, Gogeta is definitely the unit that could age the worst of these four. He could. He also could age the second best. I think the blues, of course, will age the best. But again, I think Omega Shenron's counter animation looks good. He is very strong right now. The Extreme Class team definitely needed this buff for sure to be a lot better. I think his support cannot go ungranted for, of course. So again, the reason why I'm including him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this. Do you guys agree with the units on this list? Do you guys agree with my takes? Do you guys think Gogeta is 1? Do you guys think Vegito is 2? Or do you guys think there's some kind of different movement going on? And I can be sure to understand all of that in the comments below. But again, I definitely like using these fights as a reference, of course, because they're the 4 hardest fights in the game right now. But TEQ Vegito dominates 3 of them. The only one he doesn't dominate is Rose. So I don't understand the argument of him being lower than 2 or 3. And then same thing for Gogeta. A lot of people are like, well, he can die to normals, and the only time he dies to normals is when you don't pop his active on turn 3 against the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta fight. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like a lot of people are just misusing these units. Like, why are you not using Dragon Fist on his second turn right away? You're supposed to blitz these fights. You don't want these guys getting stronger. So I don't know. It just seems like a lot of misplays and miscues by people who are playing this game. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. First playlist is going to be to my voice content, and the second one is going to be to all my Dokkan Battle videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.